Well, God put a rainbow in the sky. Stephen Colbert is over. He is canceled. He is done. And everybody wants to say this is political, right? They're trying to silence the left. They're trying to silence liberal voices. The fact that you're saying that, you prove that Colbert is a liberal hack. Okay, all he wants to do is hang out with like Cory Booker, Chuck Schumer, Zoran Mamdani, all of these liberals. That's who Colbert wants to hang out with, okay? He doesn't care about half the country, 77 million Americans who voted for President Trump. He cares about pleasing his base of liberals who need to feel coddled like little babies every single day when they tune in to his show. But let me tell you, this is not political whatsoever. Okay, Colbert is not being canceled for any political reasons. This is a financial reason. Okay, the free market, sometimes it takes the trash out, especially now because of the democratization of media, right? You can get your media from TikTok, X, Instagram, YouTube, podcasts, a myriad of cable news networks. There are a million streaming platforms. So if someone is not speaking to the people and they're not tuning in and they're not bringing in the revenue, the free market is going to take the trash out. And that's what happened with Stephen Colbert, okay? He was losing $40 million a year. $40 million a year. And we have the statistics, okay? Colbert's show had a budget of $100 million a year. I don't know why it cost them $100 million a year to make that show, and they were still losing $40 million. How do you lose $40 million on a $100 million a year budget? Okay, there are podcasts doing way better than Colbert, and they're being run on shoestring budgets out of people's homes. Okay, I'm sitting in a hotel room right now doing this on Zoom, okay, with hotel Wi-Fi, trying to make a dream work, okay, living on a prayer. But Stephen Colbert, you're losing $40 million a year, and your liberal friends want to say that your show is being canceled because of some political reasons. Absolutely malarkey, buffoonery, and tomfoolery could not be farther from the truth. If you ran a business, okay, if you ran a business and that business was losing $40 million a year, it wouldn't be a question of why you were shut down. Okay, people wouldn't say, oh, you're a Democrat, you're being silenced like NPR and PBS. Here's my thing. If these news shows and these news organizations can't sustain themselves, if they can't, have a captive audience and sustain themselves with ad revenue, then you gotta go. That's how the market works. You got to get the hell out of here. Now, President Trump, he posted about Colbert being fired, of course, and here's what he had to say. I absolutely love that Colbert got fired. His talent was even less than his ratings. I hear Jimmy Kimmel is next, has even less talent than Colbert. Greg Gutfeld is better than all of them combined, including the moron on NBC who ruined the once great Tonight Show. So that's what President Trump had to say about Colbert being fired. And I think a lot of folks on the right feel vindicated because Colbert pushed nothing but left-wing propaganda. I mean, Colbert, this man, probably pushed the JAB, the jab, more than anybody else. Okay, that man was Big Pharma's favorite, biggest cheerleader. He wanted everybody stuck inside, away from their friends and family, getting a million vaccines. That's what Colbert wanted. And it's funny how this sort of cosmic karma has taken out folks like Colbert. The trash is really taking itself out, and a lot of these shows are going to continue being canceled because no one wants to watch them anymore. I mean, if you look at MSNBC, the ratings are in the gutter. The ratings are in the gutter on MSNBC because they're speaking to a small, select group of liberal elites who need to feel coddled and babied every single day throughout the Trump administration. They can't handle the fact that Trump won in 2016. They can't handle that he's back in power right now. And so they need to be coddled, and that's why Stephen Colbert is off the air, because he's not bringing in the money or the dough. Now, Jamie Lee Curtis, another liberal elite, I want to show you what she had to say.
It's bad. He's a great, great guy. They just cut NPR and, public broadcasting. Yes, they're trying to silence people, but that won't work. It won't work. We will just get louder.
So Jamie Lee Curtis and her elite friends are upset because they don't have Colbert's show to go on anymore and whine about the Republicans and whine about the country. No one is silencing Colbert, but they're trying to save Colbert's career by saying this is political. It has nothing to do with politics. But in order for Colbert to be able to find work in the future, how are you going to get hired when you're the guy who is losing a company $40 million a year? Imagine coming and bringing your resume and they say, tell us about your past employment. well, I was losing my company $40 million a year, so maybe you don't want to hire me. So Jamie Lee Curtis, she wants to say it's political and they're silencing people. Nobody is silencing you. This is a purely financial decision, and even the network came out and said it's political. But this show, the only guests they really were interested in having on were like Tim Walz, Cory Booker, all of these Democrat elites. It just seemed like over time, Colbert was even too scared to have conversations with Republicans. He wouldn't have Republicans on whatsoever because he just was so nervous of turning off his audience. And I think it's that fear that caused him to lose $40 million a year because he stopped speaking to the 77 million Americans who voted for President Trump. Now, Connecticut Senator Chris Murphy, you know, the man who thinks it's fine for men to be in women's sports, he's also bemoaning the fact that Colbert is canceled.
This is what happens when these massive corporations control the flow of information at the same time that you have an administration that is shameless about using the official powers given to them by the Constitution and by statute in order to compel political loyalty from the owners of those media companies. This is a really, really dangerous moment. Stephen Colbert didn't get thrown off the air because he wasn't doing well. He was the highest rated show on TV in late night. He was canceled, very likely, because Paramount and its owners are trying to get rich off of this merger, and Donald Trump has made it clear to them and everybody else in the media space that if you want any favors from me, then you have to silence my critics on your platforms.
These liberals are spiraling over the fact that Colbert is canceled because they don't have this show to go on anymore and spew their propaganda. They love having shows like MSNBC and Colbert where they're going to get no pushback. They're going to go on Colbert and he's going to think everything they say is hunky-dory. The Republicans suck. President Trump is, a threat to democracy. The country's coming to an end. They love having a show they can go on just to push their talking points with no pushback whatsoever. So there's no surprise that Chris Murphy, Jamie Lee Curtis, all of these Democrats are melting down over Colbert's cancellation. But when you lose a company $40 million a year, it's hard to sustain that business model, especially when everybody's moving to streaming and the internet.